Welcome back to Kdramas Decoded, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode of your favorite K-drama. Today we're going to recap episode 5 of The Husband. After spending the last few episodes constantly running from danger, Tae-ju finally decides that enough is enough. Instead of remaining the hunted, he turns the tables and becomes the hunter. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. The episode begins immediately after the tense confrontation from the previous episode. Tae-ju now has access to the surveillance cameras and decides to use them to his advantage. Instead of waiting for No Man He to make the next move, Tae-ju forces him into a phone call. For the very first time, he isn't simply reacting to the kidnapper's demands. He's taking control of the situation himself. During the call, Tae-ju completely changes the rules of the game. He uses the 3 billion won ransom money as bait, showing No Man He that the money is no longer something he's desperately trying to protect. Instead, he's willing to use it as a weapon to gain the upper hand. This marks a huge turning point in the story because Tae-ju finally realizes that as long as he keeps playing by No Man He's rules, he'll never be able to save his wife. To prove that he's serious, Tae-ju does something that shocks everyone. He actually sets the money on fire. Rather than allowing No Man He to control him through greed and fear, Tae-ju makes it clear that he'd rather destroy the money than continue being manipulated. It's an incredibly risky move, but it has exactly the effect he wants. For the first time, No Man He is caught off guard. The confident kidnapper, who always seemed to have complete control, suddenly begins to hesitate because he can no longer predict Tae-ju's actions. At this point, it becomes obvious that Tae-ju has changed completely. Earlier in the drama, he carefully calculated every decision because he was afraid of losing everything. But now, after everything he's been through, he has reached the point where he no longer cares about the money. His only priority is saving his wife, and that makes him far more dangerous than before. While the phone conversation continues, Tae-ju finally receives the confirmation he's been desperately searching for. He learns that Si-yeon is still alive. Even though this is only a brief moment, it gives him renewed hope and convinces him that he still has a chance to rescue her. However, No Man He doesn't allow Tae-ju to enjoy that victory for long. Instead of relying on violence, he immediately launches a psychological attack. He tells Si-yeon that everything happening around her was actually planned by her own husband. His goal is simple: to destroy the trust between the married couple and leave Si-yeon questioning whether Tae-ju has been telling her the truth all along. This moment reminds us that No Man He's greatest weapon isn't physical strength. His real weapon is his ability to manipulate people. He knows exactly what to say to create doubt and fear, making his victims question everyone around them. Meanwhile, Tae-ju continues searching for clues. He visits the private investigator's office, where he discovers an unusual sun-shaped steel button. At first, it seems like a small and insignificant object, but Tae-ju suddenly remembers something important. One of his former patients had once lost a button that looked exactly the same. Because Tae-ju worked as a doctor, he has knowledge and memories that nobody else would have. That experience suddenly becomes the key to solving the mystery. Realizing that this clue could finally reveal the kidnapper's identity, he quickly heads to the hospital. Without wasting any time, Tae-ju secretly searches through old medical records. As he carefully examines patient files, he eventually finds exactly what he's been looking for. One record contains information connected to the distinctive button. The moment he reads the patient's name, everything suddenly clicks into place. Tae-ju immediately recognizes who the person is, finally obtaining an important lead that could bring him much closer to No Man He. Although the episode doesn't fully reveal every detail yet, it's clear that this discovery will become extremely important moving forward. While Tae-ju is making progress on the outside, Si-yeon refuses to remain a helpless victim. Even though she's trapped, she doesn't give up hope. She notices a sharp piece of metal nearby and patiently begins cutting through the ropes binding her hands. After spending so much time trapped, her determination finally pays off. Just as No Man He enters the room carrying a hammer, Si-yeon acts without hesitation. She grabs an hourglass and throws it directly at him, creating enough of a distraction to make her escape. For a brief moment, it looks as though she's finally going to regain her freedom. She rushes out of the room as quickly as possible, desperate to get away before no man he can catch her again. Unfortunately, the situation isn't as hopeful as it first appears. Instead of finding safety, Si-yeon discovers that she's trapped in a completely isolated area surrounded by ice, with nowhere obvious to run. The realization quickly sinks in that escaping the room doesn't necessarily mean escaping her kidnapper. As she stands there trying to figure out what to do next, No Man He's voice echoes behind her, reminding her that the nightmare is far from over. The episode ends on this tense cliffhanger, leaving everyone wondering whether Si-yeon will finally escape or whether she'll once again fall into No Man He's hands. Overall, Episode 5 completely changes the direction of the drama. For the first time, Tae-ju isn't simply trying to survive, he's actively hunting the man responsible for his wife's kidnapping. At the same time, Si-yeon proves that she's just as determined to fight for her own freedom. With Tae-ju finally uncovering a major clue and Si-yeon making her own daring escape attempt, the stage is now perfectly set for an intense Episode 6. That's all for today's recap. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another recap. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.